Okay, Ms. Farr, I told you that I would give you a chance to testify if you wish concerning anything that was raised in Ms. Plum's testimony. So this is a continuation of the hearing that we began a few weeks ago. You were placed under oath then. Do you understand that you are still under oath? All right. You're muted, so you got to unmute.
Sorry. Yes, Your Honor.
Right.
I remember, and I am telling 100% the truth.
All right. So right now I'm going to give you a chance to offer any testimony that bears directly on anything that Ms. Plum was questioned about. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. So as far as Mrs. Plum's testimony, she could not recall exactly what. There was only two situations that she had wrote down that she could actually refer to, and that was she said that when Chloe gave a response to her, that it came from me. And there was one situation that had happened earlier that day when I was on the phone, and Chloe heard two things, and I explained to Mrs. Plum. I was trying to get her to say what I had said, and she could not remember what I had said about what had happened as far as the dog being buried into the snowbank and me and Isabel finding the dog in the snowbank. And then the second one was about me being thrown down the steps pregnant, and I had a miscarriage after being thrown down from the steps. Those two situations, I had been talking to someone on the phone, and I did not realize that Chloe was hiding around the corner. That had happened earlier that day. So Chloe was responding to what she had heard earlier. So when I explained to Mrs. Plum the situation, and I had told her that I sat down and talked with Chloe, this was quite a bit of very pronounced part of our conversation, that I explained to Chloe that when I'm having a personal conversation, that it's not okay for her to listen. I explained to her what eavesdropping meant, and that there were certain things that I didn't want Chloe to hear because I didn't want to influence her. But she could not remember any of the things that Chloe had actually said to her in Chloe's interview with her. She didn't recall any of the things that Chloe had said to her other than the pulling of the toes and twisting of the arms.
So Ms. Farr, what you're doing is making argument to me about her testimony. I don't want to hear that now. All I want to hear, if you have specific information that you can testify to, not arguments, information that was prompted by something that Ms. Plum said, you can address that now. I don't want to hear any more arguments.
Okay, I'm afraid I don't understand the question. Let me just see if I got the question right. Based on what Ashley has said, I can question what she has said.
If there was anything that she testified to that you disagree with or dispute,
Oh,
or
okay.
want to clarify, you can testify to that. What I don't want to hear is you making arguments about whether or not I should believe Ms. Plum.
Okay. Well, okay. So as far as her testimony goes, if I understand correctly, the things that I don't agree with that she said, is that what you want me to say? The part that I don't agree with that she said?
Right, somebody's getting a call. Mr. Cook, I'm going to mute you. Ms. Farr, I don't know how I can be more clear. Ms. Plum gave some testimony. if there was anything in her testimony that you dispute, you
Okay,
can testify to what you remember. That's
okay,
all. I don't want
okay,
you arguing to me about why I shouldn't believe Ms. Plum.
okay. There are some things that I dispute that she said. I
Well, then
dis,
let me hear about them.
okay, I dispute the testimony that Mrs. Plum gave to you about her recollection of the conversations that she had with Chloe and Isabel, as far as them being scared of Carl. I dispute that particular part of her testimony where she, I feel like that particular part of them being scared, she did not testify in an honest manner. I don't feel that she testified based on what she remembered. The last interview that we had with Mrs. Plum, nothing in that interview was brought up. Nothing. And so I don't feel like she took good enough notes. And as far as the reason that I keep good notes is because of the situation here that we're dealing with. As far as her testifying that she did not feel that there was a fear, when I asked her questions about, well, do you feel that this situation is abuse? Or do you feel that this situation, that my children are scared? I don't feel that she testified honestly or based on memory. I feel like Mrs. Plum has been, like everybody else, manipulated by Mr. Cook and how manipulating he is. So I feel like since she went to his house and spoke with him last, she is adopting what he said. And when I spoke with Mrs. Plum, I was extremely clear about everything that we said. I didn't bring up anything at all that had ever happened to me. And even in court, I didn't bring up anything that he has done to me. I only brought up the concerns that I had with Mrs. Plum as far as their safety. And as Mrs. Plum told us in our interview, she said to us, I cannot tell you to disobey a judge's order, but Isabel, and she said, I told Isabel without telling her to disobey the judge's order based on what she said, I feel it is in Isabel's best interest to not get back in the car with her father. She said, he is dangerous. He's unpredictable. And based on what both girls had said to her, that she felt like he was violent and that he would trigger. This is what she told me based on what the girls had told her. So as far as her interview goes today, the same thing has happened today that has happened before when we have gone and talked to people.
Looks like we've lost Ms. Spar.
Are you there?
We've been here all along. Your image froze. It looks like you're having some trouble at your end.
Okay, but did you hear what I had said, or was it was frozen?
I heard all I need to hear, ma'am.
Oh, so would it be okay for me to, would it be okay for me to continue with the other things that I disputed?
Briefly, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, I would just like to say today that I do feel like you are a fair person. And I would like to apologize to the court if you felt like I was using any theatrics whatsoever, that my that I am only trying to do what's in the best interest.
I want you to address Ms. Plum's testimony only.
Okay.
If
Well,
you don't have anything more to say about Ms. Plum's testimony, then I'm going to give Mr. Cook a chance.
okay. I also would like to say that I feel that in her testimony today, that she could not recall a lot of the dangers and a lot of the things that I asked her specific questions on. I have
You're making arguments as to why I shouldn't believe her.
12 questions that I had asked her. And
Here's what I'm going to do.
I don't feel like
Here's,
she remembered.
you need to listen to me. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you one more chance to offer rebuttal to something that Ms. Plum said. The next time you veer off course, I'm going to conclude you don't have anything more to offer, and then I'm going to give Mr. Cook a chance.
Okay. I do not feel that Mrs. Plum honestly and from memory, based on what we talked about today, spoke in honesty or by memory of what was talked about when she came here and she talked to us. I feel like Mrs. Plum did not take into consideration today that based on her testimony, that she said today what she said to us. I don't feel like her testimony was what she said to me.
All right, Ms. Barr, that's enough. Mr. Cook, is there any testimony that you would like to offer that was raised by anything that Ms. Plum had to say?
No, I just would like to use this as a reference on how she's always right. Everybody else is lying. It's all everybody else's fault. That's testimony to how she actually always is on every single issue. She knows it all. Everybody else is wrong.
All right, and that's by way of argument. So I understand. So let me ask you, Mr. Cook, and again, you understand that you're still under oath from the last hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the last incident that sort of spurred all of this on, it seemed quite clear that you did not want Isabel coming along for the visit, that you wanted to spend some time with Chloe that wasn't, and I don't remember if you used this word, but poisoned by Isabel's presence.
Correct. Just I didn't want the atmosphere tainted where she's in a bad mood and I got to deal with her being in a bad mood and when I'm trying to spend time with Chloe. Yes, I remember that and agree.
It's very clear that for whatever reasons, legitimate or not, that Isabel is of a mindset that she does not want to see you and does not want to spend time with you. I think under those circumstances, forcing her to spend time with you is counterproductive.
I would agree.
The only way we're going to be able to get at that is if indeed she is involved and engaged in counseling with a counselor who, outside of mom's influence, can have frank conversations with her and overcome this fear that she has.
100%, I agree.
This counselor, normally what I like to do is leave it up to the counselor. Counselor establishes a relationship with the child, and then when the counselor thinks it's ready, introduce the parents to one or more sessions to try to address what's causing this and hopefully repair so that you can have somewhat of a normal relationship with your daughter.
I agree.
Your feeling at the present is you really want to see Chloe, but you don't want to force Isabel to participate in visits until she's willing to do that on her own.
Willing to
fair?
do that. And when I agree that it's time, I'm not going to be forced into Jen saying, you have to take her too because the court says so and blah, blah. No, I'm the dad and we're having issues right now. So no, until I state, and if you want the counselor to agree to whatever, that's fine. But I'm not going to be forced into anything. And at this juncture, I think it, like you said, I agree that it would be detrimental to force Isabel to come right now. Yes.
Good morning. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I've got another matter that I've got to take up. What I'm going to do is put you guys in the waiting room. And then when I finish with this other matter, I will bring you back in. So I'm going to give you both opportunities for argument, but before I do that, Ms. Barr, my understanding is your desire here is that I suspend parenting time completely for Mr. Cook. Is that what you're looking for?
I want supervised visitations, and based on what Chloe wants, Chloe doesn't want to ever see Carl again, but I know that that's not going to happen today. But if she does see him, I want it to be a supervised visitation with someone from an organization outside of his family.
And how do you feel about Chloe attending parenting time on her own as opposed to with her sister tagging along?
She will never go with Carl by herself without Isabel again. I know that. She will not get back into the car with him. And neither one of the girls, I can tell you right now.
All right. Ma'am, I was just, I don't want to hear your argument yet. I will do that briefly. I just wanted to make sure what your objective was. Okay. So since the impetus for this is Mr. Cook's parenting time objections, he gets the first word. So Mr. Cook, I want to give you a chance to make argument for what it is you would like the court to do. In the meantime, I'm going to mute Ms. Spar. We'll let her back in when it's time. Go ahead, Mr. Cook.
All right. Well, number one, I would like to say this whole ordeal with the I'm such a bad dad and how CPS has been involved in all this was clearly, and I say that again, clearly only because Ms. Spar kept my children from me after you just gave me 8 weekends in a row. I haven't had them for it's going on about 9 months now. Obviously, if there was something that I've done or something how I've been acting, it would be when I'm actually around the kids. I haven't been around the kids. Therefore, this whole thing is just her ploy. I'm manipulating the system to where she's not the one in focus, to where it's turned around. Now everybody's in the court is focused on me when this had nothing to do with me. This is all this has to do with is her keeping my kids from me, to where she's twisted the whole situation to where now everybody's looking at me like I'm trying to get my parenting time back when I haven't had parenting time at all. So my argument there is just, I want to see my kids. I love my kids, but obviously Isabel, we're going to have to work on some things. But as far as Chloe's concerned, I want to see her. I want to have her here. I want my week of Christmas. I didn't get any Christmas. I haven't had nothing, as you know. I want, as far as this case goes, and after it's done and said, I also want my week with Chloe. I want my whole week with Chloe. As far as her theatrics, obviously you see she wants to act like she's crying. Her daughter acts like she's crying, and Isabel acts like she's crying. But if you look at the film, there are no tears. Anybody can go, Your Honor, I really need help. Anybody can do that. There's no tears. Therefore, they are not crying. It's all an act. Let's see here. Multiple things. She said that all of a sudden, the kids have been in counseling for 6 months. Last time we were in front of you, the kids were not in counseling. She said she's going to be taking them to the lady that she stated. I want access to all the girls' school and medical records. I'm their father. I want to be able to access. Look, she's shaking her head now. No, I want access to medical records and the schooling. She don't get to exclude me from everything. Let's see here. Oh, I don't have her phone number. She got a new phone, or she got disconnected, or whatever it is. I haven't had the phone. I can't contact the girls. I can't stop by because she wants to call the cops on me every time I stop by. So I need her phone number so I can contact Chloe. And when I call, I don't want to hear that she's not around or she can't talk, or like Isabel, like the last times when I actually did have a phone and I'd ask for Isabel after I'm done talking to Chloe. Isabel's always busy. She's in the shower. She can't talk. I don't want to hear that from Chloe. When I call to talk to Chloe, which I should be able to do, I want to be able to talk to Chloe. And like I said, I don't have her phone number. I don't know if she has a phone. She's got to have a phone, but she obviously doesn't want me to have her number. I sent her an email just about a week or two ago and asked for her phone number. I said, I want the number so I can talk to my girls. She turns it around like I got some ploy or some mission or some reason why I'd want to talk to my girls other than I'm the dad. I love them. I want to talk to my girls. So she won't give me her phone number. Originally, when Isabel was in counseling, she went for a long period of time for counseling. And then all of a sudden, Jen started not liking the counselor. All of a sudden, she didn't like that counselor at all. And she's bad. And all of a sudden, stopped going to her. I don't know why. I never got to talk to the counselor myself. There's something there, and she really need to be called and asked. Like, obviously, I think she got to the point where she understood everything Isabel was saying at the beginning was coming from Jen, but after going month after month after month, she was finally getting to Isabel, who Isabel was, and trying to break her down a little bit. And all of a sudden, then Jen was done with that counselor. She don't want nothing to do with her. She's bad. So I never got to hear anything that counselor said. I don't sit there and swear at them and get in their face. I have no reason to. Like I said, all I have to do is say, what did I say? And that's it. And they do what they're told. Like I said, they're good kids, besides how they've been manipulated. Let's see here. Well, just, everybody's against her. Nobody knows anything. She's right on everything. Nobody's helping her. That's all how she feels and how she's looking at things when there's no issue there. And once again, I want my week of Christmas. I've never had it before. I want my week of Christmas. And she's gonna completely lose her mind just because, heaven forbid, the dad's 10 minutes away and has his daughter. I mean, that's not an outlandish request. All this time, 9 months that I haven't had them, I want that to go back on my rearages. I have rearages. I want this 9 months taken off because I have not had them. And I paid the full amount, and I've been paying part of the amount through unemployment. I'm on unemployment because this COVID thing. And I want, like I said, in the beginning, she was getting her full amount, which is almost $1,000 a month, and I don't get to see my kids. I want that taken off of rearages. I have a lot of rearages, So it shouldn't be a big deal to take this 9 months off the rear just when I haven't had my kids. So having said that, I believe that's basically what I wanted to say. Also, did you notice when last time we were in court and you had Chloe sitting you wanted her in a room where nobody could hear what you were saying? You recall that, where she was put in a room by herself, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. Well, did you also notice when you told her that she was to be put in a room by herself, she went over and opened the window in front of you? And then you told Chloe that Chloe, that window's open a little bit. Why don't you close that? And Chloe smirked a little bit because she knew her mom got caught. She was trying to be sneaky, put her in a room where supposedly nobody can hear when there's a window directly behind. So she tried to open it in front of you, which I thought was really stupid because she put her in that room, and then on camera you can see her opening the window. Then you have to have Chloe close the window. Not to mention the room that she was in, there's that's directly next to the entry of the house. So even though it looks like she's in the room by herself, I guarantee that door was open, and she's right by the hall, either her or her daughter. Either way, it was very easy to hear every question you asked her. Not to mention she tried to keep the window open in front of you. I mean, if you look back at it, if you didn't notice it, she tried to keep the window open to go against what you said, a room by herself where no one can hear, and she, in front of you, opened the window. So having said that, that's basically the gist of what I needed to say.
So, Mr. Cook, I will give you one last chance after I've heard from Ms. Spar. So right now I'm going to mute you so you don't interrupt her.
Okay, one last thing, just to reiterate what I said last time, what I wanted. You asked me this time what I wanted. I also, just to reiterate, I want our order to go back to what the friend of the court handbook states. I want all my holidays. I want all the summers. I want everything in that book that every other parent gets. I want it too, because I haven't had any holidays, any consideration for anything. All that matters is I pay my bill, and if not, I got a warrant out for me. That's all that friend of the court has basically done for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Spar, this is your opportunity to make argument based upon the testimony that's been presented as to what you think I should do regarding your daughter's parenting time with their father.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that both girls are available here. They would both like to talk to you again, and that if not, Isabel wrote down some things that she does want me to say if she is not able to talk again. But the first thing I'd like to start with is, Your Honor, I am not a liar. Everything that I have said here today is true. I have not exaggerated anything whatsoever. I have, to the best of my ability, I have tried to keep these girls safe from Mr. Cook. He is very manipulating and very convincing, I might add. And that when we were in court last time, based on his testimony, from as much as the girls could see, Chloe or Isabel had to listen basically so that she could answer you. And the first thing she said to me is, "I cannot believe, Mom, how convincing he is when lying to the judge. And now I've seen what you've gone through all these years trying to protect me because he seems as if he's done nothing." So as far as his testimony goes, I beg you, Your Honor, to please take into consideration Chloe and Isabel's testimony. I beg you, Your Honor, to please keep my children safe from harm. I am telling you that my children are not safe in Carl's care. There have been a lot of things we haven't been able to say. There's been a lot of things the kids haven't been able to tell you. And as far as him saying that I twisted anything, I'm an honest person. I have twisted nothing to my advantage. I get no advantage out of this. The only advantage I get is the peace of mind that you are going to be fair with the girls and keep them safe. I've not twisted anything I've said. And Your Honor, as far as him telling me that he has not been able to contact Chloe, I've never called the cops on Mr. Cook. The one person that did call the cops on him was Isabel's counselor, Sarah. She admitted to me that she felt it was important to call the police based on what Isabel had told her in counseling, that she felt that he was dangerous, and that's why she called the cops and sent them to my house to get a police report. So that's that, or she called protective services, and a police report was filed. So that's as far as that particular situation went. That was not me that called the police. That was Isabel's counselor at the time. And Isabel was not in trauma therapy when we testified last time. She was not going to trauma therapy. She is seeing a counselor, but she's not seeing a trauma therapist, which is what Ashley Plum signed the children up for, is trauma therapy. So if they had not been facing trauma, she would not have recommended or paid for trauma therapy. Protective Services had me sign a form stating that they were going to pay for the children to have trauma therapy based on their experiences with their father and what they had been through. So if that was not a reason, then they wouldn't be going to start trauma therapy. I have called Ashley Plum on 2 occasions to make sure that everything was following through. I've called Shannon Lauder's office. I have everything all set up. I was not contacted by them, so I did contact them again. So hopefully that will start soon. I have videos, Your Honor, that I can show you here today. Carl was present in these videos, so he knows what was there. And I did send these videos to his phone. And then about the child support, that has nothing to do with today's case, but Your Honor, he was asking you to reimburse child support during the time that he has not had the children. And I don't know if he knows what the rules and regulations are, but child support is not based on whether or not you see your children. Child support is based on whether or not it's based on, it provides care for these children that are his. And I might also add that I've sent in several receipts to Carl. He's supposed to pay 79% of medical care for Isabel, and $265 a month has to go to Isabel's braces because she was premature and she has a deformed mouth, and I never have gotten a dime of that. So as far as, and he was stating that that unemployment was paying me $1,000 a month, and that is incorrect. I was getting $300 twice a month, and that was coming from unemployment for Carl. And that, so it wasn't anything he paid. It was what the state has paid as far as that goes. And it wasn't $1,000. It was $300 every 2 weeks, which I'm grateful to get because he hadn't paid since December, and this started the end of April. So I went all that time period. Now I'm only getting $149 every 2 weeks. And he says that he's not working and he's claiming unemployment, but I don't believe that's the case because he did tell Chloe several times when he was here at the window that he had just gotten off of work. So if he had just gotten off of work and you were claiming child support or claiming unemployment, then that doesn't match up. I've never called the cops on him. And where has he been for 3 months? He said that he doesn't have my phone number, and that's on purpose. I am not going to give him my phone number. I have sent Mr. Cook several options on how to contact Chloe and Isabel. I have given him all of Chloe's contact information. I have proof that I have done that on her phone, on her device, the information I sent to him. And I also gave him several forms of free contact. They can FaceTime each other. He can use his mom's phone to call me because I have an iPhone. I still use my iPhone I can still use it with the same contact information. I just can't call out on it. He can still FaceTime me. So he has several options. He could call my mom and say, hey, could you have Jen bring the kids, or could you tell her I'd like to talk to the kids? But not one time in 3 months has he even tried to contact, until a week ago when we all got the information that we were going to be going back to court. He sent a message, and I sent a message back to him. Check your phone. Her information was sent to you, and these are the different ways in which you can call Chloe's device for free. But I did mention to him she does not want to even see him or talk to him. And this is from Chloe's own words. Like I said, they would both like to talk to you again. And as far as him saying that he does not get in their face and does not yell at them, that is a total lie. A total lie. Where is his mother today? Because his mother witnessed him an inch away from Isabel's face. His mother was so scared when he was yelling in Isabel's face that she was afraid for her own life and tried to get into the car and leave. And Isabel told her, you're not leaving us here. She never asked to stay there. She told Carl plain and simple to his face, you are not taking Chloe by yourself. She's not an aggressive child. She's a well-behaved child. She would never lie. She would never make false accusations against anyone, Your Honor. Never. She is in real fear for Chloe's life. Chloe is in real fear of him. The things that he have done to these children, I don't care if Protective Services thinks those things are not under their category for verbal or physical abuse. But as far as my children are concerned, this is abuse on them. He has violated. And, you know, as far as the person goes, Your Honor, I've mentioned before in court, narcissistic behavioral personality is a very dangerous situation. They try to say everything that they have done. They blame you for what they have done. This is a very distinct characteristic of narcissistic behavioral disorder. Carl is extremely narcissistic, and coming along with being extremely narcissistic, they're very manipulating, and they are pathological liars. He is a pathological liar, but claims that I am one. I am a Christian. I love God with all my heart. I did have tears in my eyes. When Ashley left the first day that she was here, Your Honor, we talked to Ashley for 3 hours. 3 hours. And our eyes were so red after talking to her. She hugged us during COVID and said she was sorry for everything we had gone through, and she was going to do her best to help us. Okay, and as far as Carl said that the child support, I forgot to say these things about his child support. Number one, you ordered him to go to anger management, and he never did. That was a court order that he disobeyed. He never took his anger management classes. And you put a warrant out to Cook back in, I believe it was in February, and he was to pay a certain portion on that warrant in order for that warrant to be dropped. And Mr. Cook called the officer that was at the front of the court, and he talked him into dropping the warrant. When I called the friend of the court to find out why the warrant had been dropped, the police officer told me that Mr. Cook had called him and explained that they had started taking child support out of his income, and so that they dropped it. And I said, well, what about this, they gave him a certain amount of money that he had to pay to have that warrant dropped. I believe it was $3,800 that he had to pay to get that warrant dropped. And I asked him about that. And he said, well, when the warrant's dropped, that amount of money that he has to pay is also dropped. So why did that get dropped? Because from what I understand, there's only 3 ways to get rid of a warrant. You go before the judge, you go to jail, or you pay the warrant. So I don't know how that got slipped under the rug, but I'm begging you today to please, I beg you, please listen to me please listen to my children. Everything I've said to you today is honest. These things have happened to us, and I am in fear. And my mother has not been able to testify again today on the things that she has heard, and the things that she knows. And she would like to also do that today. But as far as my children are concerned, Your Honor, I ask that you please reach into your heart and please take the safety of the girls to heart. Please make a decision that is based on their safety and what they want. Please, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, look at all of the information, please. And please allow them to talk to you in response to what has been said from what they could hear. As far as what Ashley had said in the beginning before they had to leave the room, please give them another chance. And Your Honor, Isabel would like to talk to you without her father listening because she's very intimidated when he's listening. She would like to talk to you in private where he cannot hear you. So please allow her to do that. And I beg you, please be fair to the children today. I'm not afraid of going to jail, Your Honor. If I have to do that to keep them safe, I will. But I can tell you that neither one of the children are going to get in the car with him again. They will not. So please look at Chloe's testimony. Please look at Isabel's testimony. Oh, and as far as the window being opened, there was a towel in that window over there. And when I pulled the towel out of the window did not get shut. And you can see that if you can see that far back. We could hear Chloe through the window, though. We could hear her even with the window closed. This room echoes, and we could hear what she was saying. She didn't know this, but we could hear what she was saying. So I beg you, please listen to the testimony that my mom has in reference to this and the last time we were in court. And I beg you, please get the last words from my children.
I'm done taking testimony, but I am going to give Mr. Cook a chance to reply, and then I will tell you what I'm going to do. Go ahead, Mr. Cook.
All right, Your Honor. Number one, she's the true narcissist. She wants to call me a narcissist every time she ever talks to me or ever refers to me. She's the one who's lying and manipulative and nothing's ever her fault. And anyways, I'm not going to go into that, but she's the true narcissist. I don't have her phone number. She acts like I don't have Chloe's phone number. I don't know. Chloe's got a phone now, or she just used her tablet. I don't know, but supposedly there's all these kinds of ways to contact her. I wanted Chloe to have, I set it up on my end, kids messenger. For some reason, Jen never would go for that. It's a simple app. I could have talked to her. Everything would have been fine. But no, she will never do that. Won't let her have kids messenger. I never called friend of the court to get any warrant dropped. I'm sure they don't even do that unless you pay the bill. Like she said, you got to pay the bill or you're going to jail. Well, guess what? I didn't call anybody. They got enough money and they dropped the warrant.
Mr. Cook, let me stop you. Let me stop you for just a minute. This kids messenger.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that. What is your understanding of what that is?
It's just another app of Google Play that it's just like Messenger, but it says Kids Messenger, and it's tailored around kids, and it has some kind of parental supervision with it too, where people can't just send messages to a kid unless the parent has an okayed that person type thing. You know, it's just a quick, easy little app, just like Messenger, no different, except it's tailored for kids and it's a little more protected for kids. Other than that, it's the same thing.
Is that something you load on your computer and
on your phone? Yeah, it's just a phone you can download off on your phone. I mean, it's an app you can download on your phone.
It can be a phone app, and it can also be a computer app, so that if the child doesn't have a phone, you can use your phone to message with the child
I believe
on a computer.
I believe so, as long as you can download the app. That's what it's just a basic app, Google app.
All right, well-
I haven't tried to put it on a computer, but I'm pretty sure you can put it on like a tablet or something, and she could, that way I could contact her. I haven't even been able to contact my daughters or even Chloe in the last probably at least last 4 months. I have no talking to them, nothing. I can't stop by because she'll call the cops. And then in her statement, she said she never called the cops. How many times has she told you that she called the cops? She's told you multiple times that she's called the cops. And now in her statement, I never called the cops on him. Yeah, right. She's told you multiple times she's called the cops on me. So that just once again, she don't even know when she's lying. She lies and lies and lies. I don't know if there was a question or if there's anything else that I was.
Anything else that you wanted to address?
One other thing, I do have a witness as well as if to speak on how Jen is, how she acts, what she does, how she keeps the kids from me. She's my witness is also my friend that I bring that drives me over and has who I pick up the kids with. Now she thinks she can tell me that I can't have a girlfriend. I can't have the kids around her, around any girls. She is the ultimate supreme being, and she dictates if anybody can be around her. If she doesn't like somebody, my kids are not allowed around her. If it's another female, they are not allowed around another female at all for any reason. And I would like you to ask her that if she minds my kids being around any females, because she will not allow it. And when I go to pick up the girls next time, she's gonna throw an issue about that too. So that's probably after you make your determination, she's just gonna go right back against what you said, not listen to what you said, and state she doesn't have to follow what you said because there's a girl in my car. Like she's done multiple times. So I would like to ask her, do you mind do you have a problem with his girlfriend being around? Because she thinks she can tell me I can't have a girlfriend and I can't be around because she can't have a significant other because of her faith, because she committed adultery. In her faith, she's not allowed to have anybody anymore if she wants to be in that religion. So that's basically it.
All right. Well, I've made clear to both of you that I'm not taking any more testimony. I've got enough information that I can make a ruling. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to mute both of you because I don't want you speaking out or interrupting me. So this has been a very, very troublesome case for the court. You folks have been back in front of me so many times. The conflict, the tension is incredible. I've tried to get some insight. It's very hard to know at what point which parent is telling the truth, which one is exaggerating the truth. So I've tried very hard to listen to you both carefully, to hear what you have to say, and to evaluate the facts that have been presented to me. So one of the things I did to try to cut through all the emotion that I hear whenever the two of you are in front of me was I appointed a lawyer guardian ad litem. I believe it was Mr. Hotchkiss. Give me just a moment to pull his report. Yes, Mr. Hotchkiss. And then because I was hearing such starkly differing versions of the most recent event, I adjourned the proceedings so that I could hear directly from the CPS investigator who was called upon to investigate this incident. And both Mr. Hotchkiss, whose judgment I value very highly, and Ms. Plum have concluded that Mr. Cook is not a danger to his children. That I've seen over and over again what I believe to be absolutely true. Mr. Cook dearly loves his children. If that were the case, he'd have given up a long time ago, given the many, many obstacles that Ms. Spar has thrown in the way over the years, trying to interfere with Mr. Cook having a reasonable parental relationship with his children. And frankly, what I'm seeing is direct parental alienation by Ms. Spar. She is instilling fear in her children. She is telling them things that they should never need to hear. She is instilling fear in them. And she's done damage as a result of that. Kids don't need to hear one parent trashing the other. And Mr. Cook, you're guilty of that. You're guilty of trashing their mother to them. She's guilty of trashing you to them. All it does is create harm. And it's been successful. Isabel has been as alienated as I've seen a child become, and Chloe's rapidly on the way to being that herself. It's just plainly wrong. So how do we fix it at this point? Clearly, these girls have been alienated against Mr. Cook. They believe that he's a danger to them, but they don't believe that based on truth. They believe that based upon all of the fear that their mother has instilled in them. I don't doubt that Mr. Cook loses his cool on occasion and raises his voice, but he's not a danger to either one of these children. He never has been. He never will be. The danger is what mom is doing. Ma'am, if you unmute your phone again, I am going to kick you out of this hearing. Do not do it. Is that clear? So how do we get off this point and get to some semblance of a reasonable parenting time schedule and a reasonable relationship for Mr. Cook with his children? What I want to do, the referral to the healing place to Dr. Shannon Louder, absolutely, I wanted it followed up on. I want counseling set up for both of the girls through Dr. Louder's office. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to schedule, and Mr. Cook, you're not going to like this, but give it time. There's a goal in mind. I am going to order that a healing place supervise a couple of visits. I want them to see what I believe to be the case, that these girls have no reason to fear you other than what mom has put into their heads. And she's been hard at work doing that. Every chance she gets, she poisons these girls towards you, Mr. Cook, every time. So the first step we're going to do, I want there to be 2 supervised visits with each daughter separately. I do not want them together. They need to be separately. After those 2 visits, I want the parenting time supervisor at a healing place to give the court a report as to how those visits went. I also want the girls immediately enrolled in counseling through whoever it is Dr. Louder assigns from the healing place so that they can start that process. I want the person who's doing doing the therapy to involve both parents at a time and under such circumstances as the therapist sees fit. I'm going to let that be driven by the therapist. There is a cost associated with the parenting time visit. I'm ordering that the parents have to split that cost because there is blame on both sides for why we got to where we are. And I think that burden should be shared. After 2 visits, I want a report from the parenting time supervisor as to how those visits went. And that will guide my decision going forward. As soon as I have that report, and I want those visits to continue until such time as I issue a new order, but I want a report after 2 visits. It's going to take some time for that report to get to me. It's going to take some time for me to act upon that report. But my goal, Mr. Cook, is to get your girls both, and I realize it's going to be a lot harder task with Isabel than it is going to be with Chloe. I want to get them both to a point where they're willingly coming to visits. And one of the things I'm going to direct the therapist to address with both is to evaluate the extent to which there's been parental alienation in this case. Once I get through this, so that we're at a situation where there simply is no reasonable basis for any fear on the part of either one of these children, I anticipate going to a far more regular parenting time schedule. Part of the problem here is the extent to which these girls have been withheld from Mr. Cook. And while they're being withheld, they're being fed lies by their mother, exaggerations, just over the top, outright parental alienation. So I am going to get busy to write this order. As soon as you get the order, Ms. Spar, I expect you to act on it. The other thing I'm going to order immediately is Ms. Spar, you are going to research and you're going to install either on your computer or on a phone this Kids Messenger app so that Mr. Cook has a way of talking to both of his daughters. That's going to be in my order. You will get all of this in a written opinion or a written order rather, and it will be coming out within the next couple of days as soon as I can get it out. I'm going to warn you, Ms. Spar, at the point at which I order whatever the parenting time is, whether it's a supervised visit, whether it's an unsupervised visit, each time the child doesn't go to that visit is going to cost you a day in jail. Each time the child doesn't go to a visit is going to cost you a day in jail. And I'm going to stand behind that. And make sure your girls know if they're telling you, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Honey, if you don't go, mama's going to have to go to jail. You make sure they know that because it's going to happen. All right. That concludes our hearing. You'll be getting a written order.